Hello.
Hello, Joel.
Yes, sir.
Hey, brother, what's up, man? This is David Duenas with Leaving the Ring Radio.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Good, man. I'll roll in with some questions first, and then we'll roll into the fight. Is that cool?
That's fine.
Okay.
Ask me whatever you want. I'm here.
All right, brother. With Timothy Bradley, when we had him on, he had mentioned that, he was like 180, 190. And a lot of fight fans were talking about after the fight how he was choosing to stand and trade, and that was a very dumb thing. But I was putting out to note, and you can tell me if there's any truth to this, that first off, Timothy Bradley is not a real 147-pounder, even though he was fighting at 152 or 154 in his amateur careers. But when you fight at 140 and you jump up, you're facing bigger guys. And the walk-around weight for him at 180 or 190, that's got to put a lot of play for a guy that hasn't been active for as long as he hasn't been since the Manny Pacquiao fight, right?
Correct.
So that being said, was there a struggle in making that weight? Was there because the layoff's got to be a whole lot, right?
Yes. And you know what? That's one thing that's a subject that sometimes you don't want to bring up because at the end of the day, there's no excuse. I mean, he fought. Even if he would have gotten knocked out, if he would have lost, I mean, that wasn't going to be brought up as an excuse. But Timothy is a fighter that always stays active, even after fights. I mean, I've had Timothy fight Kendall Holt and come back on Sunday, and he'll be running on Monday. But due to the fact that after the Pacquiao fight, he had his feet were injured. He was in a wheelchair for a couple of weeks, and then he was on crutches for a while. And then it took him a while. He was going to therapy for his samples and stuff. That right there, just blew him up. He was eating. And then, he was taking all the bullshit from the whole world, on the controversial fight. So, he was just depressed. I mean, he was mad at the world. He was just eating. He didn't care, whatever. He did blow up. He blew up to 185 pounds. Coming down to that weight, it was also an issue. It had a lot to do with it because even the week before the fight, he was at 158 for 3 weeks. He was at 158 for 3 weeks. He couldn't lose no weight. And he came to the gym one day. He's all stressed out. 2 weeks before the fight. 2 weeks before the fight comes to me and tells me, Coach, because he always does that himself. He always maintains his weight himself, and he don't need nobody to tell him what to do, what to eat. He's very good with nutrition.
Right.
He goes vegan and all that stuff. But for this fight, he came to me 2 weeks before the fight and told me, Coach, he says, I'm stressing, man. I go, I can tell your face. Talk to me, what's going on? He goes, Coach, I've been 2 weeks in 158. I can't lose my weight. I go, really? What are you doing? And then I go, you know what? I got somebody that can help us. So he went home, and then the same evening, I went to his house, and he was in his backyard. He was in the pool with his baby. Him and his baby alone. So I told him, you know what? Let me handle this. You need to speak to me sometimes. What's going on? So we handled it, wrote it down, 2 weeks before. A week before the fight, wrote it down, and then we go to LA on Tuesday. On Tuesday, when we got there Tuesday night, he was at 156. But also, he's doing the anti-doping with VADA or USADA. What they did the day before, on Monday morning, they came to the gym. No, it was Tuesday actually. It was Tuesday before we went to LA. They came to him. They had to do blood, and they had to do urine. We're in the gym at 12 o'clock, and he couldn't pee. He couldn't go to the bathroom. And as a matter of fact, he went to the bathroom at 7 o'clock that night, and he was just drinking water and water and water. He probably drank like 2 gallons of water that day. So when we got to LA, he was at 156, and then I started working him. On Wednesday, he was at 153. On Thursday, he was at 152, 51. And then at 150, even the day of the weigh-ins, before the weigh-ins, early that morning, he was at 147, 148. He woke up at 148, took him to the treadmill, worked him out a little bit. Earlier that morning, he was at 147.4, and he decided, you know what, I'm going to lose it. So he throws on a plastic, he gets in the shower with the steam, the hot steam, and, he dropped another pound. And, he told me, Coach, it had a lot to do with the weight, too, because I felt it. I was hitting myself on the chin before the fight in the dressing room, and I felt it. And man, there was something wrong, man, because every time I hit myself, I feel like, damn.
So did that contribute? Let me ask you this: with trying to lose that weight before the fight, walking into the ring, do you think that contributed on why he decided to stand and trade so much?
Yeah. Well, that didn't contribute to him standing there and exchanging. What he did was, one of my biggest concerns was, we had a plan for the fight. We were going to box the shit out of this guy. We were going to box him, use angles. I was going to have Timothy work and not let Ruslan work. Just like he did in some rounds. I told him, okay, I want you to use your jab, put your combinations together. When he steps in, I want you to lower down, get inside, and stop the action. And then get back on your rhythm, keep moving in angles. But he decided to exchange. I knew somewhere behind my head, I knew he was going to do that just to prove a point, because he was attacked so bad on the Pacquiao fight that he goes, you know what, I'm going to prove to the world that I can fight. And I'm gonna bang it out, and show a different Tim Bradley. And I told a lot of people, don't be surprised, you're gonna see a different Tim Bradley in this fight.
Let's talk a little bit about the first round with Timothy and Ruslan. He got caught. I mean, he was massively hurt. It almost was to a point that if there was a different ref in the ring, there could have been an early stoppage. At any point of seeing your fighter, who you've been with from the beginning of his pro career and led him into being a champion, did it come across your mind of stopping the fight? And if so, why didn't you?
Definitely. I know Tim Bradley. I mean, we started years ago. I know what kind of will determination he has. I know his willpower. And I mean, as of the second round, Timothy was no longer there mentally. He wasn't. He fought out of his own will. I mean, he don't remember nothing to the fight. I mean, if you want to know what kind of fighter Tim Bradley is, Timothy does not remember anything he did in that fight. Because the next morning, we watched the fight in his room, and he didn't remember nothing. He was surprised, like, wow, that happened. The reason why I'm telling you this, because he comes to the corner every time he sits on the stool, and he asks me, Coach, did I get dropped in this round? Did I get dropped? No, you didn't get dropped in this round. Come on. Wake up. Let's go. And I told him one time, Tim, he got hurt. He was getting hurt every round. Every time he came to the corner, I would see him. I see his reaction, and his recovery was fast. Because I told him at one time, I said, Tim, if you don't answer my question, man, I'm going to stop the fight. I'm not going to let you walk in the next round hurt, because you are going to get hurt. This guy's going to come over and knock your ass out. So I will wake him up. And you, Coach, I'm good, okay, show me you're good. Show me that you can box this guy, and keep moving. So every time he went in there, he was boxing real good, using his jab at distance, using good angles. That's the reason why I made a decision. I was not stopping him. But, he kept going on, and of course he got hurt every round. But he would come to the corner, and I would bring him back to life. I would yell at him, I would cuss at him, and I would keep him alive every time. In the last round, obviously, man, he was really hurt. I mean, if
right.
the fight, if the round would have been a little longer, he would have been stopped. Or if he would have got caught with that punch in the last round earlier in the round, he would have been hurt. He would have got knocked out.
I want to talk a little bit about that 12th round, but I want to go back with something here, and I'm obviously going to be playing the devil advocate here, because a lot of fight fans out there in the social media world, and even with some of the media, are saying that strong possibility with this type of war for Timothy, they could see Timothy's not going to be the same on his next fight. If Timothy is not the same, is there any regrets of allowing Timothy, knowing that he was hurt every single round? Strong possibility you contribute of ruining a good fighter?
No, because you know what? Unfortunately, that's not the fight we wanted to fight. But at the end of the day, he gained a little bit of respect. He gained a little bit more fans. And sometimes you have to give to receive, man. Honestly. I mean, I could have stopped the fight. And if I would have stopped the fight, one loss in his record would have ruined his career. Why? Because, I mean, Timothy is undefeated. He is a champion, and it's so hard for him to get fights. And I told Timothy one day, Tim, if this is the way you're getting treated, being undefeated and a champion, imagine the day you lose the fight. Believe me, wow. You'll be in the shadows, man. And I don't regret anything that happened in the fight. I could have stopped the fight and ruined his career with one loss, but I knew how much willpower that kid has. And believe me, that guy has a lot of heart. I mean, I just spoke to him like 30 minutes ago. He's good. He's got a good sense of humor. He's good. And I know I was a fighter myself. I was hurt. I was hurt at one point in my career by a guy that really hit hard. I mean, I put myself in the same situation as Tim Bradley. But you know what? It takes a lot of heart and a lot of determination to come back stronger. I mean, yeah, of course, every punch down the road in a career does damage to you. But you know what? Sometimes you learn off of it. Hey, the next fight, it could make him a little smarter. And of course, he's gonna walk in the ring with a little bit of distraction in his mind. Like, wow, you know, the punches in the last fight were very extremely hard. But you know what? That's what you show what kind of a champion you are. I mean, every fighter out there has been hurt, you know, and it's not how many times you go down, it's how many times you get up.
There's no question there, man, about Timothy's heart. That fight there, I put it out on Twitter too. I said, for all you guys that keep saying that Timothy's boring, you have to check your temperature, because that was an amazing fight. That 12th round, when he came back to you, and I've always said this about you. I've told you many times. I said I believe you're one of the best trainers out there in the world.
Thank you.
And that you see the fight the way it's going in reality. Timothy Bradley walks back to you in that ring on the 12th round. His eyes were glossed up, and you told him, Timothy, this guy's going to come out in this next round to knock you out. You need to box. When he went out there and he didn't, he decided to trade. What was the first thing that went through your head?
I think he's going to get knocked out, honestly. Because I was watching him exchange punches with a guy that hit extremely hard, and he was opening really wide. He was throwing punches. He was swinging punches from every angle, but he was exposing himself a lot. And I was just concerned about Provodnikov picking his head up and watching him with his defense down and catching him with a good overhand right or a good left hook. If he would have done that, the fight would have been over. He would have put Tim down. So you know what? I told him, I said, Tim, this guy is going to come because, I mean, in my eyes, I see round by round. And I knew that it was a close fight, but Timothy had pocketed a little bit more rounds because the first and the second we lost. And then after that, you know, I started watching rounds. So I figured, okay, when you start boxing, you win rounds. There was times when you come to the corner and I tell him, Tim, this is the way I want you to box. Every time I tell him this is the way I want you to fight. This is the fight I want you to fight. Every time he came and I told him that, I noticed that round was ours. So, you know, I told him many times, Tim, you got to listen to me. This is the way I want you to fight. I want you to work and don't let this guy work. This guy needs to stand. He wants you to stand and exchange with him in order for him to connect you. If you move on him, he can't fight. So I knew that we were ahead, but I knew that he was going to come strong in the last round. I told him, this is going to try to knock your head out. I want you to box. But then later in the round, when he stopped and exchanged punches with Rosam, I said, man, this kid, man, so stubborn. He's going to do it, and he's going to get caught with a punch. And, you know, he did get caught, and good thing that it was closer to the end of the round, because when he got up, he was hurt. As a matter of fact, the father wanted to sit him on the stool at the end of the fight, and I said, no, don't sit him down. I don't want him to look like a defeated fighter. I want him to stand up. I looked at him, and I go, I want you to look alive. Look alive. And he goes, all right, coach, I'm good. As you've seen, he was still dead when Max Kellerman interviewed him.
Yeah, he was. I mean, his face expression and his smile told the whole story. Well, let me ask you this. After that Manny Pacquiao fight, you know, with all the media and all the fans coming down pretty hard on you guys, at any point now, do you feel that you've lost control of your fighter? Because, you know, even with the Gary Shaw situation, myself and my co-host Gabriel, we stood behind you guys on your guys' decision of trying to get out of that contract and not fighting another fight because they would lock you guys down. But after that, with Top Rank, they were offering Tim some other fights, and of course, you know, he felt fighting Lamont Peterson made no sense. But do you feel you have lost some control of your fighter with some of the fame, even though it might be negative, but with some of that fame that's now kind of came on you guys?
No, I don't think so. You know why? Because he always told me, Timothy's always been honest with me. He tells me, Coach, When I listen to you, I do good. When I do my own thing, I get in trouble. Go back to the Kendall Hall fight. I told him in the last round, I want you to box. And then he decides to exchange. He gets caught. And, you know, it's just a thing that you as a fighter, sometimes, you know, you got to show the world something. You know, you want, and Timothy, I know he had a little grudge. He has a little grudge on the world, on all the people that hate on him. So I knew that it was going to be hard for me to control him. I know that this fight could have been easier if we would have just boxed Ruslan and just made it a boring fight, but that's not what he wanted. And at the same time, I want you to understand that Timothy fighting Manny Pacquiao, you're fighting the elite fighter. You train to the level of opposition. You fight. Timothy always performs good at the level of opposition Pacquiao. I mean, honestly, you watch Timothy walking in the ring, and I told him today, like I said, don't lie to me. Walking in the ring, you didn't have the spark. You didn't have the excitement in your face. And I know why. I said, tell me if I'm wrong. When you walked in that ring, you were going to fight a Ruslan Provodnikov, somebody, a fighter that you could have made an easy fight. You could have boxed him and just made it a boring fight. But you went on your own, right? He goes, yeah, coach, you're right. I said, Ruslan Provodnikov is a name that I told you from the beginning. If you would have knocked him out in 1 or 2 rounds, you wouldn't have got no respect because Ruslan was not a named fighter. If you would have went 12 rounds on a boring decision against Ruslan, you would have got no credit because you beat a guy that had no name. But now you go in there and you made it an exciting fight. You got hurt. You took a beating. But you know what? I mean, at least the viewers got what they wanted to see. They wanted to see a fight, not a boring fight.
Let me ask you, because it doesn't seem like you guys can win. You give them you know, the fans and the media were not too hyped about Bradley and Provodnikov, right? They were all like kind of doubting it. They were downing it. They were saying, this is not a good fight. Then we get an excellent 12 rounds. I even put out there, this was like a Ward and Gotti type of fight. It was back and forth. And after that fight, all the fight fans were like, oh, he's an idiot. He's stupid. He shouldn't have done that. It just doesn't seem like you guys can win any situation out there.
That's one thing that Timothy has, believe me. And he told me. And when somebody tells you in your face with a serious look and tells you, coach, believe me, I won't lose. The only way I will lose is if they knock me out and take me out on a stretcher. But if I go down, I'm going to go down swinging. And you know what? I believe the kid. Because, I mean, he's been through so much in life. I mean, he's done it all. And now, I mean, I don't think that after fighting Manny Pacquiao, you know, a guy that put the best fighters in boxing history away and could put him down, you know, it's like his confidence level is high. And I know that after this fight, of course, it affects you mentally, fighting a tough fight like fighting Provodnikov. You know, it was a tough fight and a tough opponent. And you know what? I know that Tim Bradley will come back stronger because he took punches from a heavy puncher.
His wife and his mother left the fight after that second round. They couldn't sit there ringside and watch. Having family around so close, because we all know this, that fighters, they lose focus having family so close and involved with their career. And anyway, has this affected him?
No, it never affected him because Timothy has always had his family next to him. Even, I mean, since he started the boxing career, even as an amateur, his mom, his dad never missed a fight. Amateur, pro, they never missed a day of training. They have never missed a day of training since he started boxing as a kid. And, you know, he likes that. He's a superstitious person. He always likes to have his family around. And believe me, sometimes I have to keep everybody strong because emotions get involved, and I have to keep everybody strong.
What do you mean?
I'm going to tell you one thing. If I crumble, everybody goes down.
What do you mean, well, that you have to keep everybody strong? I mean, in terms of what? Like you have to keep his family strong as well?
Yes. I have to keep his father strong, everybody in my corner, because his father's in the corner with me. He's a strong member of the team, and sometimes emotions get into his own father, and I have to deal with the father. I have to deal with him, and then sometimes even the family, man. And it's a tough job for me, but hey, at the end of the day, Tim relies a lot on me. He believes in me, and he's a strong kid.
Where do you guys go from here? I mean, was it a concussion? What was the results, and where do you guys see what's leading up?
Well, right now, he is resting. He's good. I talked to him yesterday. I spoke to him right now. We had a long conversation. He's good. I mean, I can tell just by the way he's talking that he's good already. He recovered. I mean, he had a concussion, but we went back to the dressing room, and he was good after that. Went to the hospital. Everything's good. They did a casket on him, and he's good to go. All he does is he just needs to take some time off, rest. Just to rest his body for a little bit. And like you said today, Coach, 2 weeks I'll be back in the gym. It's not gonna happen. I'm not gonna grow up anymore. I'm gonna be walking around at 150, at 160, 162 max.
You guys have fought your asses off to get to this top level of eliteness. Is it what you guys were hoping for and more? Or is it, everything else that surrounds being the top guy, it's not worth it?
You know what? Since we started this sport, we always look forward, man. Sometimes you say, sky's the limit. And we climbed the ladder slowly. We had a lot of adversities, and it's hard, man. It's hard. At one point in my career, I said, you know what? I want to be known as one of the best trainers out there. Right now, all I want is my fighters to be happy. I want my fighters to retire, and invest their money wisely, so they don't have to work for the rest of their life. This is a tough sport, man.
It is.
It's a very tough sport. I care for my fighters, and I care for their well-being. And one of the things is this: I want to see my fighters years from now be happy with their families. I want to see them enjoy their kids, play with their kids, and have a good life. At the end of the day, fame, recognition, trophies, awards. At the end of the day, they don't mean nothing, man. I mean, it's your life in the ring. It's your life in the ring. Sometimes, right now, I don't even care about credit. I don't even care about being famous, being the best out there. All I want to do is just look forward to pay back and pick the crop that I want the one day I planted, because I work so hard every day, man. I mean, Tim Bradley trained 2 months, a stressful 2 months, and meanwhile, I started training my brother for Amir Khan, and at the same time, I'm training Omar Figueroa, and Saturday night was a very tough night for me, and it's tough for a trainer like with a family, with a life outside boxing. I have to come back, take Sunday off. It was my wife's birthday on Sunday. I didn't do nothing because I have to come back to work Monday. I've been working since Monday, today, and I'll be working as of now until the end of April. And meanwhile, see what comes up.
Like I said before, I believe you're one of the greatest trainers out there that should get praised. I think you're one of them. Let me say this really quick, because I believe you guys did win this the fight this Saturday, and I'll stick by this. And I've said this in the past, that if it wasn't for your game planning and your eye to adjust your fighter, I don't know if Timothy would have been able to get out of some of the situations that he was in. So you are a big part of that camp. I gotta say that, man, and with the other fighters that you've worked with, So I give big ups to you for what you've done, all the work that you put into the sport that doesn't give back sometimes a whole lot.
Thank you. I appreciate that, man. Those words mean a lot to me because it's hard. It's hard to work with fighters, and it's hard to be aggressive. A lot of people judge me. They judge me, and they say that I'm a stupid trainer by the way I speak to my fighters. But you know what? I'm going to tell you something. That day that Timothy fought Manny Pacquiao, when he comes to the corner and he tells me that his foot is hurt, if I would have said, okay, Tim, I'm going to stop the fight, he would have agreed with me. He would have said, okay, coach, let's stop the fight. But I was aggressive enough to tell him no. You gotta suck it up. You're okay. Let's go. But at the same time, I'm watching that he's okay. If he has if he's injured on the foot, and I see that he's getting into problems, I will stop the fight because I care for him, for his own safety. But I seen that he managed to move, avoid a lot of punches, and fought back. By the 9th round, his foot was numb, and he kept moving. He forgot about the pain because he sucked it up. Now, Kalvanikov, when he comes to the corner in the 2nd round, he was hurt. And I told him, Tim, you got to wake up. By the way I proceed to speak to him, I wake him up. And he respects me. And the words that come out of my mouth, believe me, they pump him up to come up out of that stool.
Yeah.
I don't show him no fear. I feel no sympathy. We're fighters. We got to fight to the end. And I'm telling you, in every corner I work, I'm telling you, if I crumble, everything comes down. I keep everybody standing. Everybody.
Let me move this over about your brother, the kid, Diaz. Because if I didn't ask this question, my listeners are going to say Dave punked out or Dave's a punk because he's not trying to ask Julio, hey, well, the real questions, the major questions. You say you care about your fighter, so fans right away are going to say, okay, then why are you letting your brother fight Amir Khan? Shouldn't your brother lace up those gloves?
Yeah, no, I love the questions. I love the questions. And you know what? I'm a down-to-earth guy. You could ask me whatever you want, and I have answers. You could tell me Julio Diaz is a washed-up fighter. You could tell me anything about my brother. You could tell me he has no chin. You could tell me whatever you want. I train him, and I'll answer the questions for you. I could tell my brother, you know what? Lay the gloves, put them away. You know what? You're not in this business anymore. But you know what? Julio is going to ruin the party for a lot of people. I'm telling you right now. And let me tell you one thing. I'm willing to bet anybody, just give me a number, $5,000, $10,000, that I'm going to go to England and bring a victory. Anybody that wants to, they can give me a call. I mean, I don't have a lot of money, but sure, $5,000, $10,000, I'll put them on the line, that I'm going to come back and I'm going to ruin somebody's party in England. Right now, I can tell you that.
I like that confidence, man. Brother, again, man, it's always a pleasure. And, dude, I as a Mexican-American, and these times right now, our kids, we need positive figures out there. Not just in the sports world, but in entertainment and overall as a human being. Bro, you're up there, man, in my opinion. You're really up there.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that, man. You know what? We're here in this damn sport. It's a very tough sport. It's a beautiful, beautiful sport. The sport of boxing is one of the most beautiful sports in the business. It's the politics that hurts the people. But you know what? We're going to be here for a long time. And I'm going to keep making champions. That's for sure. And I know there's a lot of people out there that, you know, that really don't give us the credit, don't give us the love. But you know what? There will be. One day. Because I got more fighters that are coming strong. And one day they're going to come up to me and they're going to ask for a picture. They're going to ask for an autograph. And I'm more than happy to give it to them.
All class, brother. And one fighter that I'm really excited about is Omar Figueroa. That kid, whoo, he's something special. He's something special.
Believe me. That kid, by the end of the year, I guarantee you, he'll be a world champion.
I wouldn't doubt it, man. I wouldn't doubt it.